Today we are going to talk about musculoskeletal assessment. Musculoskeletal assessment has three goals: evaluate health history, identify current physical changes, and assess functional impact on daily life. You need all three. History reveals risk factors, physical findings show what is happening now, and functional assessment shows how the disorder affects mobility and independence. The key principle is early recognition. Your job is not just documenting problems, but identifying risk before it becomes disability. Aging affects every part of the musculoskeletal system. Bone mass declines after age 30, leading to fragility fractures, height loss, and kyphosis. Muscles lose elasticity and strength, causing atrophy, fatigue, and increased fall risk. Joints and ligaments lose cartilage and disc height, producing stiffness, crepitus, reduced range of motion, and osteoarthritis. These changes are common, but progression can be slowed with nursing interventions focused on mobility, strength, fall prevention, and joint protection. Family history is essential in musculoskeletal assessment because many disorders are inherited. Autosomal dominant conditions, like achondroplasia and osteogenesis imperfecta, can present with abnormal stature or unexplained fractures. Muscular dystrophies cause progressive weakness and functional decline that require early recognition and long-term planning. Always assess at least 3 generations. Physical findings like scoliosis, hypermobility, abnormal head size, protruding jaw, fractures, or abnormal muscle tone should trigger a focused family history. A musculoskeletal health history has 2 parts. The condition profile includes onset, severity, location, and duration, associated symptoms, family history, and whether the problem is stable or progressive. Progression drives urgency. The second part is lifestyle and risk factors. Occupation, activity level, nutrition, alcohol, tobacco use, and prior trauma all shape the condition and the care plan. Never skip the lifestyle assessment because context matters as much as symptoms. Pain patterns help identify the source. Bone pain is dull, deep, and often disrupts sleep. Muscle pain is cramping or sore without a clear pattern. Fracture pain is sharp and improves with immobilization. Joint pain is inflammatory and worsens with movement. Timing also matters. Rheumatoid arthritis is worse in the morning and improves with activity. Tendinitis worsens during early activity. Osteoarthritis worsens through the day with mechanical use. When the pain occurs, helps identify the cause. Paresthesias, burning, tingling, and numbness, are neurologic warning signs and should never be ignored. They may indicate nerve compression or circulatory compromise. In fractures, casts, or post-op limbs, paresthesias can be an early sign of compartment syndrome. Bilateral symptoms in the hands and feet suggest systemic causes like diabetic neuropathy, vitamin B12 deficiency, or peripheral vascular disease. Always compare the affected extremity to the unaffected side because asymmetry helps localize the problem. FRAX estimates a patient's 10-year risk of major osteoporotic or hip fracture. It uses age, sex, BMI, fracture history, smoking, steroid use, alcohol use, rheumatoid arthritis, secondary osteoporosis, and sometimes bone density results. FRAX is most useful in adults over 50, postmenopausal women, and patients with low bone density, plus added risk factors. Nurses may not calculate the score, but they collect the history that drives it. Multiple risk factors, like smoking, chronic steroid use, and prior fragility fractures, should immediately raise concern for fracture risk. Spinal alignment is assessed by observation. A normal spine has thoracic kyphosis with cervical and lumbar lordosis to distribute mechanical load. Kyphosis is exaggerated thoracic curvature, commonly seen with osteoporosis and aging. Lordosis is exaggerated lumbar curvature associated with obesity, pregnancy, or weak core muscles. Scoliosis is lateral spinal curvature, assessed with forward bending and checking for rib asymmetry. Alignment abnormalities should always prompt you to identify the underlying cause, such as degeneration, fractures, obesity, or neuromuscular disease. Gait analysis gives rapid clinical information. Normal gait is smooth, rhythmic, and symmetric. A limp suggests pain, limb length difference, or limited joint motion. Neurologic gait changes are major red flags. Spastic gait suggests upper motor neuron damage. Steppage gait suggests foot drop from peripheral nerve or lower motor neuron injury. Shuffling gait with reduced arm swing is classic for Parkinson's disease. Watching a patient walk helps localize the problem quickly. Bone and joint assessment follows 2 checklists: For bones, compare extremities bilaterally for symmetry, deformity, and alignment. Assess circulation, sensation, pulses, and capillary refill for neurovascular status. Fracture signs include abnormal movement, angulation, and crepitus. Never perform passive ROM on a suspected fracture. For joints, assess both active and passive ROM. Differences between them help determine whether the problem is muscular or structural. Document deformity, tenderness, nodules, swelling, and effusion, and use a goniometer for accurate ROM measurement. Palpation and muscle assessment confirm what history and observation suggest. Joint movement should be smooth. Snapping or cracking suggests ligament problems, while crepitus points to arthritic cartilage damage. Joint nodules are commonly seen with rheumatoid arthritis, gout, or osteoarthritis. Muscle assessment includes strength, coordination, size, and tone. Weakness may reflect musculoskeletal disease, electrolyte imbalance, myasthenia gravis, or muscular dystrophy. So think systemically. A limb circumference difference greater than 1 centimeter is significant for atrophy and should be documented. CMS, circulation, motion, and sensation, is the core neurovascular assessment for fractures, casts, surgery, and immobilizing devices. Circulation includes color, pulses, capillary refill, swelling, bruising, and skin temperature. Warmth suggests inflammation. Coolness suggests poor perfusion. Motion assesses movement distal to the injury, and decreasing motion may signal compartment syndrome. Sensation includes burning, tingling, or numbness distal to the injury or cast. In fracture patients, altered sensation means compartment syndrome until proven otherwise. CMS assessments must be repeated, timed, and documented. Compartment syndrome is a surgical emergency caused by rising pressure within a closed muscle compartment, usually after fracture, crush injury, or tight casting. Permanent neuromuscular damage can occur within 6 hours. Watch for the 5 Ps: pain, pressure, paralysis, paresthesias, and pallor. The earliest and most important sign is severe pain out of proportion to the injury, especially pain unrelieved by opioids or worsened by passive stretch. Do not wait for all 5 signs. Remove constrictive dressings, notify the surgeon immediately, and prepare for fasciotomy. A complete musculoskeletal assessment combines history, physical examination, and functional evaluation. History explains risk and progression. Physical findings show the current problem. Functional assessment reveals how the condition affects mobility and independence. Together, these guide targeted care and early intervention. The goal is not just diagnosing disease, but preserving mobility, independence, and quality of life. In summary, nurses must differentiate bone, muscle, and fracture pain patterns while also recognizing age-related changes, gait abnormalities, and neurovascular compromise. A complete assessment includes posture and gait evaluation, pain pattern recognition, CMS neurovascular checks, and monitoring for emergencies like compartment syndrome. The ultimate goal is early recognition of dysfunction, protection of mobility, prevention of complications, and preservation of patient function and safety.